Hello, 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 ladies. This is my first time doing a live from my laptop, and I feel like it mirrored the the screen, so that's interesting. But hello, welcome in. So for today's live, we are going to be talking about how to overcome the winter blues as a woman without force. This is something like I talked about in another live stream that I've overcome over and over and over again every single winter. I find myself in this place, and I feel like that's most people because I genuinely, my fiance and I were talking about this. We genuinely believe that humans were meant to hibernate in the winter, that we were actually just meant to sleep so much more because it is reflected in nature. There is so much less daylight. There is so much more darkness. Even animals hibernate in the winter. So why wouldn't we also be doing that? So because of the daylight, because of the cold, because of us moving less in general, because it feels so freaking cold outside and we're not socializing as much, what tends to then happen is we start to experience anxiety. We start to experience feeling depressed, seasonal depression, feeling so unmotivated, and feeling like we cannot get peace, feeling that we are stuck in a survival response of either being in flight and having so much anxiety and wanting to really think our way through things and trying to kind of like solve everything mentally. And we're so uncomfortable being in our bodies, whether it's because of the cold or because of something that is coming up for us, or with feeling seasonally depressed because of this weather, because of the light, where we are in a survival response of freeze, of feeling so unmotivated, not wanting to do anything. And in today's live, what I'm going to be sharing with you is how to move through that anxiety if that is where you're at, and how to move through that seasonal depression if that is also where you're at. For me, I was finding myself, and I know this happens for me every year, where I'm going through a blended state of feeling so anxious and also feeling like I'm in freeze, like I'm stuck. And I'm going to be sharing with you things that I'm doing and continue to do to help me move through this winter season and to overcome the winter blues without trying to force your way through it. Because I've said on this channel before that, and I've seen it in my own experience in the past, that when I try to force something, my body resists. When we try to force our way through something in this aggressive way, our bodies will resist that. So I'm going to be sharing things that I did that are not coming from this forceful energy. And what I want to encourage you to do is to really view this with the perspective of, I am going into this to get curious, to learn more about myself, to support and reassure myself, not to try to change anything about myself because there is something wrong with me or there is something that I need to fix, because that leads to more of this resistance. When we wake up and we are feeling anxious right off the bat, and we're like, why are we feeling this? Oh my gosh, I wish this would go away. For me, this comes up because I already have the tools. I already know what is happening and what is playing out. And there's a part of me that is like, what, why are you experiencing this? You already have the tools. And then there's that shame aspect of it that comes in. It's like, you shouldn't be feeling this way. You have the tools. You have already learned about this. Shouldn't this not happen? And when I meet myself in this way, my body resists even more. My body tenses up even more. And my body feels like it is being attacked. But when I wake up and I'm feeling anxiety, and all I do is simply just meet it with softness, meet it with acceptance, meet it with compassion, and offering myself grace, realizing that maybe it's a cycle I'm going through in my menstrual cycle. Maybe it's a phase that I'm going through. Maybe I just don't have the energy. Maybe I didn't sleep very well. Whatever it is, not thinking about it from the mental plane, not thinking about it from the head, but simply just meeting myself and saying, oh, okay, I woke up and I'm feeling this anxiety. It's okay to feel this. It's okay to be here with it. It makes sense that I'm feeling this. And there is nothing wrong with feeling anxious. And noticing what that feels like in my body, the actual felt sense of the anxiety. Where do I actually physically feel it in my body, rather than staying stuck up in the story and trying to figure out, oh, how do I get rid of this? Why is this here? Where that actually prolongs that. But when you actually meet it, feel it in your body rather than running away from the sensation, from the feeling, that is when your body starts to melt and you're able to actually process that anxiety rather than continue to live in that survival pattern and going in loops of anxious thoughts. When you are trying to push it away, that keeps you stuck in more anxiety. So we're not going into it with the goal of, I need to get rid of this, I need to not feel anxious, but just to be curious. Okay, I'm feeling anxious. I'm just going to sit here with it. Like, what is the worst that could possibly happen? And I don't want you to think about this mentally of, okay, let me come up with a list of reasons now of what are the worst things that could happen if I feel my anxiety. But allowing yourself to feel this slowly without trying to push your way into the anxiety, of just allowing yourself to accept that it is there. That could be just the first step, without trying to force anything else, of just saying, yeah, I feel anxious. Simply just acknowledging that alone helps the body relax, because you are actually saying the truth, and it brings you back into authenticity. It brings you back into alignment rather than lying to yourself and trying to pretend that it is not there, where you're saying something mentally that doesn't align with what your body feels. And now there is like, your nervous system's like, okay, no, I don't know where she's living. That's kind of like in la la land. That is not how we feel. And then it starts to produce more of that response. But when what you are feeling is aligned with the story and what you acknowledge about what you're experiencing, now you are actually saying the truth, and your nervous system can learn to trust you. Your body can learn to trust you, because they know that you are in this reality with them, because they can see you actually hear what is going on. So with anxiety and that being in a flight response in the survival, I have my notes here. So with that kind of energy, it is most likely energy that wants to move through. It is a lot of energy, and maybe you are not using that energy wisely. Let me say wisely. So when I start to feel anxious, what usually happens is that I am not following through on things that I want to follow through on. I am not creating. I am not doing my workouts. I'm not moving my body. I am not cleaning my space. Whatever it is for you, I want you to sit down right now and write out, what are the things that you have been neglecting? Where is this anxiety coming from? And this could be external things, things that you have not been doing but would like to be doing, or it could also be something that is trapped inside that now is coming up to be digested, that is now coming up to be healed. So, what I want to encourage you to do is first start out by moving your body to release this excess energy. So, you can start out by approaching it from different lenses, of approaching it with different things. And if that anxiety is still there, if that excess energy is still there, that may be something internally that is asking for your attention, that is asking for you to see it and to hear it. And the deeper level of inner work of doing this is inside my course, Safe to Be Loved, which is linked down below. But what I want you to start off with to begin is to start moving your body. A lot of us don't want to move our bodies in the winter, and it is totally understandable because it is so freaking cold. But what I want to encourage you to start doing is to move your body, do a workout. Actually, I'm going to link in the description below after this live. Let me write it down so I don't forget. I can also just say the name, but I want to link it as well. I want you to go check out. This woman is so freaking amazing. I want you to go check out Grow with Joe on YouTube. She has so many videos and she has grown so much over the years. And she shares about moving your body in a way that doesn't have to feel hard. Moving your body, she has these dance workouts. She has workouts where you're standing and you're just moving your body. And it doesn't necessarily feel hard. It doesn't necessarily, okay, you know what? It depends on what videos you do of hers. But she has beginner videos, she has intermediate, she has advanced, she has like videos that you start off moving your body with where it doesn't feel like so much effort, like most of the content out there that is around exercise and moving your body. So what I want to encourage you to do is check out her channel and move your body in whatever way. With anxiety specifically, I would suggest moving your body using a movement that is going to help you release that excess energy, whether it is through dancing or running or just doing jumping jacks or shaking. I want to encourage you to do something that is going to help you release that energy. And then what I want you to do is, while you are doing the workout, while you're doing the movement, I want you to physically feel where the anxiety is in your body as you do the workout. Noticing, what does it actually feel like? Do you feel tightness in your stomach? Do you feel tightness in your chest? Do you feel tense in your hips? Do you feel a knot anywhere? Where do you feel that anxiety? Do you feel like it's something that is hovering here? I want you to start noticing, what is your felt sense of anxiety? Because oftentimes we just think about anxiety and we know the definition of it. And when we stay in the mental story and when we stay in the mental plane, we are not actually digesting the anxiety and allowing it to move through. It is energy that wants to move through and be expressed. But it cannot be expressed if we are just talking about it and what it means and what it feels like. When we actually feel it physically and we notice, what does it actually feel like in the body? What does anxiety register like in my body? What is the felt sense of anxiety in my body? That is how we actually allow anxiety to move through. That is how we allow it to be processed. And please don't push past your body's boundaries when you are doing this. If your body keeps taking you back in your head and you're feeling very uncomfortable, listen to that. Your body is always trying to protect you, and it knows when you are ready to move through something or when you need to actually just stay right where you're at. So I want you to listen to your body, but also continue to explore it and go just a little bit outside your comfort zone, because that is how we grow. We do not grow by staying the same, doing the same thing over and over again. We need to actually go a little bit outside of our comfort zone, and then come back. And this is what is called in somatics that it's toggling, going into the charge and then back into regulation or using some kind of resource, a tool, going into it and then coming back to the resource. So going into the felt sense, feeling where you feel the anxiety, you don't have to do anything about it. You do not have to fix it. Simply just noticing and bringing your attention and awareness on where you feel it in your body back to your workout, back to moving your body. And the next thing that I want you to try is morning pages. If you feel like you have so many thoughts that are running through your head and you're like, I don't know what to do with all of this, and then it ends up putting you in a place where you're like, I don't even know what to do with this information. Like, what is that called? Analysis paralysis? I think that's what it's called. I haven't heard that phrase in a long time, but I think that is what it's called. When you have literally analyzed something so much and looked at it from every angle, and you try to have all the answers, and you try to like do all the things before you finally take action, and then you're like, I'm too paralyzed to actually take the action. And then that leads to even more anxiety, because then you're like, oh my gosh, but like I really want to do this, I really want to take action on this, but I'm stuck here. And that actually brings me into, well, let me first explain the morning pages, and then it will go into the next point. So the morning pages is this practice by an author called Julia Cameron, I believe is her name, and she wrote the book The Artist's Way. I would highly recommend this if you're a creative. All of us are creative human beings, but especially if you create content or if you're trying to put your work out there in the world and you're trying to connect with your creativity, highly recommend that book. But that is where this practice comes from, the morning pages, where you write out. You can either do writing in your journal for 25 minutes or writing for 3 pages long in your journal. I personally prefer writing for 3 pages long in my journal because I feel like the timer, I don't know, I don't really like the timer that much. I just like to know I filled 3 pages, and I prefer that because that is usually when my juices start to flow and I start to actually access my creativity by the end of the 3rd page. So if you're feeling like there's a lot of mental clutter, there's a lot on your mind, this is a way to put that mental clutter on the paper so you don't have to keep thinking about it over and over again and continue in loops. And this helps you come back down into your body. This helps you come back down to be able to connect with your creativity, to connect with your intuition as a woman, and to connect with your body, with your senses, with pleasure. Remember, I've talked about this in past videos that as a woman, connecting to your senses, connecting to pleasure is how you actually regulate your nervous system. Because when we activate pleasure through our senses as women, that is when our body starts releasing oxytocin, which is a signal to our body that we are safe. It is now sending that signal to our body that we are safe, we can relax, and this is how we regulate our nervous system as women. And so I'm going to encourage you to start letting out most of that. Most of it is junk anyway. So letting all of that out so that you don't have to spend so much time in your head and you can actually come back into your body. And the next point that I'm going to go into, since I was speaking about analysis paralysis, is making a decision and following through on it. So most of the time when we don't make the decision and we're like, should I do this? Should I do that? Should I work out? Should I not work out? Should I eat this or should I eat that? Should I eat the kiwi or should I eat the cupcake? Should I eat this or that? Wear this or that? And we're literally stuck in this constant state of being indecisive. It takes so much energy and it leads to so much more anxiety. But when we finally, oh my God, I lost my train of thought. That's really funny. What was I saying? See, I went back up in my head. This is literally happening in real time. Oh, right. Okay. So when we actually just make the decision, when we make the decision and just follow through on it, that takes away all that energy that is saying, should I do this? Should I not do it? Should I work out? Should I not do it? But when I wake up and I already know, I've already decided, I've made the decision that I'm showing up for myself, I'm showing up for my body, I am showing up and doing this type of movement, I am doing this workout, this is what I eat at night, I avoid sweets, I avoid treats, this is what I'm going to wear in the morning. That actually allows you to flow in your feminine energy more and allows you to not have to be in the mental and think about, like, what am I going to do? When am I going to do it? And being so indecisive and saying, okay, well, am I going to do this workout or am I not going to do it? I've already decided once. I've already decided once that these are the days where I work out. These are the movements that I would like to do. Depends on where I'm at in my cycle, because I don't like to be rigid with myself either, because again, my body starts to resist that. So not only am I being consistent and making the decision that this is who I am, this is how I show up for myself, but I'm also listening to my body. Where am I at in my menstrual cycle? Does my body want to, does my body have a lot of energy that it wants to express? Or is my body not feeling so great and I'm in my luteal phase and I want to move my body, but I don't have that much energy? Would I rather just go for a walk now? Would I rather just do a yoga video and stretch? Or would I rather do a dance workout or some type of HIIT workout or go for a run? What is it that my body is asking for? So, learning about your cycle also helps you with this, knowing what your body needs in each of these phases rather than trying to force consistency on yourself. So, making the decision, becoming familiar, if not already, I have videos on my channel, excuse me, that talk about this, that talk about the menstrual cycle and how I made, I don't think it was a live stream, I think it was a video, but I have a playlist for the menstrual cycle if you want to check that out. And just being in tune with your body as a woman and knowing, what does my body need? How can I continue to show up for myself? I've already decided I get to continue to show up for myself, that I get to show up, I move my body, and knowing that this is now your new identity. You show up, you move your body. So that is already not in question. And you don't have to use so much energy of, should I do it? Should I not do it? I don't want to do it. Like, no, you already know this is who you are. This is how you show up. The question is, what movement do I want to do? How do I want to show up for myself today? Um, and the last thing, and this is continuing, like a continuous inner work point for me, is learning to trust God and give Him all of my anxiety. I think that this is my work for 2026. It's about to be my birthday this month. And I feel that the word that is coming through is trust and faith. And I feel that this year is going to be a year where I just learn to trust God even more and to have so much faith. And so much of anxiety comes from trying to control every little thing because we do not trust. We do not trust the people around us. We do not trust that it will work out. We do not trust God, that He has our best interest at heart. And especially if we have experienced trauma, especially if we have experienced being in a household that was chaotic, where we felt that we had no control over what happened, we now grow up into adults and we struggle with this so much, where we try to control every single thing in our life, and we try to stay small, and we try to stay in our comfort zone and do the same thing every single day to try to avoid that unpredictability that is associated with the trauma that we experienced, with the chaos that we went through. But what I feel that I'm is my going to be my biggest lesson this year, I already feel it because it has already started, is learning to trust God and give him my anxiety, knowing that I don't have to have all the answers, knowing that it will all work out in my favor always. It has never not worked out in my favor, even when I couldn't see it at the time and I felt like it is all going to go downhill. This is not what I want. This is not what I need. At the end, it was exactly what I needed. And I thank God that he led me down that specific path. And to give you an example of this, my current partner and I have been together for 10 years, and we actually broke up at a certain point, and it felt like the end of the world. It felt like it was the worst thing that could possibly happen. And I kept asking questions like, why would this happen? Why is this happening to me? This is the, like, at the time, I was just so devastated by this. And now looking back on everything that changed within the relationship, looking back on everything that I learned, that breakup literally led me to personal development, led me to questioning my purpose, to questioning what is it that I want to create on this world, in this world. What kind of partner do I want to be with? What kind of partner do I want to be? What kind of wife do I want to be? And it just led me to question so many things in my life and to discover personal development, which I had no idea about at the time. And I am so grateful that I was so broken at the time to be able to open up my heart and see something new. Because so often when we are stuck in one way, and when we feel that we have all the answers, that we have it all figured out, it's hard to open up our minds and our hearts to receive something different, to receive something else. But when we go through heartbreak, even though it is so hard, that is when we feel like, oh my gosh, like I need something else that will help me see what is going on, that will help me see differently, that will help me see clearly. And we are so much more open because our heart breaks open. We are now open to receive rather than being closed off and having this wall and thinking we have it all figured out. So, long story short, is learning to trust and doing this in everyday life. And I want you to start taking notice of where in life are you not trusting? Where in life are you trying to control? What areas of your life? Is it in your relationship? Is it in your job? Is it in your health? Where are you not trusting? Is it in a vision that you are trying to create and you see everyone around you saying, no, it's not going to work out. No, like we're not there yet. You're not there yet. Can you allow yourself to trust in that vision and have faith that it will manifest, that it will come to fruition? Can you allow yourself to do this even with people around you saying otherwise? Because we all know that most of the time when people finally become successful, people get amnesia and forget that they didn't support them in the beginning. If you are in that place where you're feeling like this is not possible, everyone around me saying it is not possible, will you allow that to get to you? Or will you continue to go anyways, show up anyways, and have faith that it will work out, and have faith that God always has the best intention for you and things always work out in your favor. That is my new motto, that things always work out in my favor, and God is planning the best outcome for me. He is planning the best things out there for me. And it is my human self that tries to get in the way and control things. And that is what then causes stagnation and causes all this anxiety. But when I learn to gently work with the human, then I can actually allow what God has in store for me to come through, to come to fruition. It is often us that stop the flow of abundance, that stop the flow of whatever God is creating to bring into our reality. Because we are afraid, we are in a survival response, we haven't experienced it before, and our nervous system sees it as dangerous. But does that mean that it's actually dangerous? No. So, learning to trust and allowing yourself to let go of control in one area of life where you feel like, I need to have all the answers, I need to have it all figured out, and you have a lot of anxious thoughts about that area. I want to encourage you to give that anxiety, literally just sit down and have a conversation with God and say, I'm giving you all of this anxiety and I trust you. I trust that you have the best intentions for me. And I know this is not going to be easy and it may take multiple times, multiple tries. But doing that, every time I do that, I'm like, I can finally breathe. Oh my gosh. Then the more you do that over and over again, the less you feel the need to try to control every single thing in your life. Okay, and now moving into, so that was anxiety and being in flight, and now going into feeling unmotivated or depressed, which is a freeze response. So if you have been feeling unmotivated this winter and you have been feeling so depressed and you're feeling like, I literally can't bring myself to even do a workout video, I can't bring myself to show up for myself in any way, this is going to be for you. So what happens when you are in a freeze response is you are literally, imagine yourself like you are an ice cube. And what often happens, because we live in a society that just tries to force things, that tries to push our way through what we are experiencing, is when we are feeling depressed, when we are feeling unmotivated, even if it's just seasonal depression, which is so real because it impacts our hormones, especially for us women, because we love to be warm. And when we try to push our way through, your nervous system is going to fight back. So when you, let's say you have been so unmotivated, you have not been working out, and finally you're like, okay, you know what? I'm going to just do this workout video. I'm just going to do it anyways and push through it and then call it a day. What then happens is that you wake up the next day and you're like, oh my gosh, I cannot do that again. That was horrible. And now your nervous system is like, okay, we're going back into freeze because that was too much. You pushed past your body's boundaries. But what I want to encourage you to do, if you feel that you are in freeze, you're feeling unmotivated, is to, as I said, because you are an ice cube, you're frozen. What we want to do is to start melting that slowly, to start thawing out that ice cube. So rather than, I watched the most funny commercial the other day. What was it? It was like, actually, I think it was this morning while I was doing my workout video. It was this guy, it was a DoorDash commercial where this guy was thawing his turkey with a blow dryer. And I was like, what the heck? So literally think of it this way. When you are trying to force yourself to do something and you're forcing yourself out of that freeze response, you're like holding a blow dryer to that ice cube and you're trying to melt it so quickly, but your body is going to resist that. So what we want to do is rather than just going directly into that intense workout video, is we want to start thawing that out slowly and naturally without anything from the outside like a blow dryer, without trying to force our way through the thing. So, what I want to encourage you to do, so if you've been feeling like, okay, I'm feeling so stuck, I'm feeling so unmotivated, I don't want to move my body, I don't want to do anything, I just want to sit here and scroll on my phone, what I want to encourage you to do is simply just start swaying. It can be as simple as just swaying in your seat. And maybe doing some stretches, or doing a yoga video, or really just moving your body in slow ways where you can feel what's actually going on rather than trying to force your way through something and then you go back up in your head and you're stuck in that freeze response still. So try this out, try thawing this out by just choosing gentle movements, choosing to move slowly, choosing to go at your own pace. And what you will notice is that as you do this, your body's going to ask you for more intense movements. You don't have to push your way through this. Your body is going to naturally want this. And also listen to your body of where you're at in your menstrual cycle. Are you in your luteal phase and you want to move slower? Are you in your follicular phase and you want to have a more intense workout because you have more energy? So listening to that as well. And let me drink some water because my throat is getting a little dry. Okay, so what is the next point? Okay, so I said all of these. Okay, so the next point that I have is engage in things that are hard rather than always choosing what is easy. So let me explain. So choosing whatever is hard does not mean, because I think oftentimes we think that when we make hard choices, it has to be through force and it has to be through pushing our way through something. But making hard choices can be at the level that you're at, making a hard choice based on where you're at in your cycle. And making difficult decisions actually brings your soul back to life. Making difficult choices is food for your soul. I don't know if that makes sense. But yesterday, my difficult choice was to fast. I've been meaning to do a 24-hour fast for the longest time. Most times I do the intermittent fasting of about 14, 15 hours. And I've been meaning to do a longer fast. And I know there are so many health benefits to this. But what motivated me to actually do this fast, I've known about the health benefits for so long, but what actually motivated me to finally do it was to have a connection with God, to be able to have a conversation with Him. And like I said, when the human is getting in the way, when it is when you're using so much energy to suppress whatever you are feeling, to literally continue engaging in anxious thoughts, in trying to get the energy and the motivation to do something, when we're using our energy in this way, it takes up a lot of our energy, more than you would think. And then we don't have the energy to have a conversation with God, to be able to connect with God, to be able to connect with our intuition. And what I wanted to do that day, yesterday, is to finally be able to have a conversation with God And not that that's the first conversation, but I feel that this year, and I've been feeling this for the past few months, that this is the time for me to strengthen my faith, to strengthen my relationship with God, not through religion, not through other people's interpretations of God, but to have a direct line with Him and to be able to have conversations and to be able to follow through on the little nudges that He sends me of what I need to do next, what I should do next. And I feel like this is going to be the year where I strengthen my own understanding of who God is and how I show up, because I am a reflection of that. I am a, what is the word I want to use? That I know that I was created in the image of God. And so I know that as I continue to understand who God is and His character, that is how I know how I can show up in the world. And I'm sure there will be more videos coming later on this as well. But this is why I say it is important to do hard things, because when we are always choosing the easy thing, when we are choosing the cupcake over the kiwi, that's just an example because literally that was me yesterday. When we choose to scroll on our phone versus wake up and do a workout or move our body, when we choose instant gratification, the thing that will feel good in the moment, oftentimes that is hurting our soul. And oftentimes that is what leads to us feeling even more unmotivated and feeling more down. But when we choose hard things, there's actually a video, a podcast about this, and it's also on YouTube, of from the Diaries of a CEO, and it is with, I totally forgot the name, but I've mentioned it in a past video before, where this researcher talks about the correlation between being in constant, like getting dopamine hits by doing easy things and things that feel good all of the time over and over again without doing anything that is hard, it actually leads to depression. And on a spiritual level, I feel that this actually depresses your soul, because then it's, life becomes not as interesting anymore when you are doing the same routine, when you are waking up and just looking at your phone, doom scrolling first thing in the morning, and you're doing the same thing over and over again, and you continue to make the easy choices that feel good in the moment and that are temporary, that actually leads to your soul feeling like depressed. You're satisfying the human in the moment, and then your soul is feeling like, okay, well, now we don't feel like we can even do hard things. We don't feel like we can show up. Even showing up for this live today was a little bit hard because I felt like I needed to overcome the human part of me to be able to show up. And even knowing my why is what helped me show up. I want to show up and face myself every single day. I want to show up for you ladies. I want to show up and have these kinds of conversations. And without my why, without understanding what my mission is, without my connection to God, I could have just let the human take over and say, well, I don't really feel like showing up. I don't really feel like going live and putting myself out there and allowing myself to be seen. I would rather just stay comfortable. I would rather just stay small. I would rather just put a blanket, watch TV, and just do that all day. But what I've noticed is that when, and I will say, I have done that. I have done that. And when I do that, I literally feel so unmotivated. I don't feel good doing that. It feels good in the moment because I avoided something that felt scary. But in the long term, it doesn't feel good. So I really want to encourage you to do difficult things in your life. Do the thing that feels hard. Today, my hard was showing up and doing a workout after taking a, I think, a month-long break now. After Thanksgiving, there's a lot happening, and something happens with Thanksgiving where I'm like, okay, let's go into this mode. And then there was my luteal phase, and then my period came, and then I was like, okay, well, that added up to a lot of time. And so my difficult choice today was showing up and doing the workout. And another difficult choice was showing up and going live. And my human self, the animal part of me, was like, no, no, let's not do it, it's too scary, let's just stay over here, let's just, maybe actually let's record a video instead. Where there's nothing wrong with recording a video, that also takes another level of inner work. But I felt like I want to keep doing these lives. I want to have conversations with you ladies. I want to show up and face myself every single day and continue to step outside of my comfort zone. And I want to familiarize this in my nervous system. And the only way to familiarize your nervous system with this, with something new, is to continue to show up and do it over and over and over again. It doesn't just happen magically. It doesn't happen by just consuming information and just knowing it mentally. It happens when you actually show up and do the thing, because then your nervous system is like, oh, well, we know how to do that. We can do it. That's easy. Oh, I'm going to show up and do a workout? Yeah, I've been doing that for a month. Yeah, of course I can do it. But in the beginning, it is going to feel scary. It is going to feel foreign. And whatever, you guys have heard me mention this before, that whatever feels unfamiliar to your nervous system is going to feel like it's dangerous, like it is not safe. But is that the truth? No. And to give you an example of this, when I was doing my somatic training, my psychosomatic training, a part of this training was being vulnerable with other people that I was training with other students. And I was so terrified, as someone who had fearful avoidant attachment. I was so terrified of vulnerability. I was so terrified to express myself and say what I was experiencing, to express that I do make mistakes, to express that I felt ashamed about certain things, and just opening up in front of someone else and allowing them to see you in all of your things, not just the good things, the things that you get praised for, but also in the things that you don't feel so good about. Allowing yourself to be seen in that way. That, to me, like doing that, and even doing it with someone else and being the coach in that, that was hard. And there was a part of me that was like, okay, you know what? Let's avoid these calls. I'm not going to show up. I'm not going to do them because they feel too scary. And in the beginning, the first two calls, I was like, you know what? I'm not doing that. And actually, let me just say, I can't, I'll just be the observer. I won't engage in this, because we had like a group of 3 people where one person was the observer, one was the client, and then one was the coach or the practitioner, and then we would switch. So I was like, okay, you know what? Maybe I'll just say I'll be the observer. But I knew at the time that it was just a matter of familiarizing this in my nervous system. So I continued to show up. I was like, this feels so damn uncomfortable and I don't want to do it. The human part of me is so scared, but I'm going to do it anyways. And guess what? It continued to feel easier and easier the more I showed up and the more I did it. So the most potent part is making the decision and showing up in the beginning and continuing to show up, even though you're not sure if this feeling will ever go away, even though if you're not sure if you will always be scared, even though if you're not, there's a lot of uncertainty. And that is what can cause so much anxiety, and what can cause us to feel stuck and stay in the same routine over and over again, because it is so much more comfortable for the animal part of us to stay in the same place and to keep showing up and doing the same things. But then before we know it, our soul is feeling so unsatisfied and so unfulfilled, because our soul came here to grow and to expand. Our soul is already an expanded version of us, and it is leading the human to keep expanding. There was this what, I'm totally gonna butcher this, but I'm just gonna say it anyways. There is like, I don't remember how exactly it was like the statue of David, whoever created that, someone asked him how he created the statue of David. Hopefully, I'm not butchering this. And hopefully, that's even the name of the statue. But someone asked, how did you create this? And the artist said, I just removed everything that was not David. I removed everything from it that was not him. And I feel that this is literally our life on earth, is that we are removing anything that is not of God, anything that is leading us to believe, all these limiting beliefs that are leading us to believe that we should live in scarcity, that love doesn't exist, that we should choose hate, envy, anger, that we need to show up in this way and follow our ego and follow our impulses and follow the instant gratification. But when we choose those things, we feel so unsatisfied. We feel good in the moment, but we feel so unsatisfied long term. And I will be the first to confess this, and I'm not proud of this, but I will share it because I feel that it could help someone, because it was just my experience that I would show up and this still happens to this day and I'm still working on it, is I would show up and someone would say something and I would take, maybe they would say something mean, and I would take the bait and then match that same energy rather than just choosing to starve that energy and choosing something better and choosing to show up differently and not engaging in the ego that is telling me, oh, you need to be right about this. Even just having discussions with my partner when we have an argument, of that feeling that I want to be right, that feeling in the ego that is convincing me that I need to be right about this. And that is more important than us actually solving this as a team. And this is how I continue to become a better friend, a better wife, a better partner, a better anything, a better business mentor, a better coach. This is how I continue to be better, is by choosing the long-term gratification, not instant gratification, by choosing to do uncomfortable things, by choosing the things that make me a better partner, by choosing what my soul, my highest self, would do in this moment, rather than what my ego leads me to believe that I need to do, of taking the bait, of just yelling back, of saying some type of insult, of trying to be right and convince people that I am right or that I am better than anything. Whatever the story is, I want you to start getting curious and ask yourself, where am I trying to look like I have it all figured out? Where am I lost my train of thought again. This is practice. This is practice. And this is a reminder to have grace for yourself, because you will make mistakes. You will show up and you will make mistakes, and that is okay. I used to have this perfectionist mindset of, I need to have it all figured out. It needs to go according to plan. It needs to be perfect. Nothing can go wrong. But then that kept me from living life. That kept me from doing the hard things, because I couldn't allow myself to be a beginner at anything. I showed up and I was like, I need to be good at this from the beginning. I would show up to a class, like a yoga class or a dance class, and I was like, I need to be good at this right off the bat. I need to go show up on YouTube and do a live stream and be so good at it and so flawless at it right off the bat. And that is just the perfectionist that is trying to protect you. It is a protection mechanism. That's all it is. And when I realized that, I said, okay, you know what? What's the worst thing that could happen? I'm allowed to make mistakes. I'm human. And I'm going to learn as I go. Even just losing my train of thought, that would have dysregulated me so much a few years back. And I would have been like, oh my gosh, I lost my train of thought and there are people watching me live. What am I going to do? This is crazy. But so what? So what? The more you embrace your shadows, and this is where deeper inner work also comes in, when you embrace your shadows, you stop caring about what other people think. You stop caring about prioritizing other people's opinions over yourself? Hmm. So going back to choosing what is hard, I want you to choose your heart based on what expands you and based on whatever phase you're in with your menstrual cycle. So you're not always going to be choosing the same heart. You're not always going to be doing like intense workouts or doing these intense things. I want you to choose your heart. What would be the thing that scares you to do today in this phase of your cycle? It doesn't have to be big. It could be like complimenting a stranger in public. It could be fasting for 5 hours. It could be like, I'm just like making up stuff because I am such a what is the word? Proponent? I think that's the word. I don't know. English is not my first language, so don't come for me. But I advocate. Let me just say, I am such an advocate of taking baby steps. Just start with where you're at. Take baby steps. What is your heart today? Is it getting out of bed and washing your face and wearing something that you feel good in? Maybe that is your heart today. Maybe it is waking up and going to a grocery store and actually engaging and socializing with people. What is your heart? What is the thing that you have been avoiding? Maybe it is showing up and filming content for YouTube. Maybe it is showing up and doing a workout. Maybe it is showing up and continuing to show up with more patience with your partner in your relationships. What is your heart today? Choose one thing that scares you, that feels hard every single day, and keep in mind where you're at with your cycle, because women, we have less of a capacity for stress during our luteal and menstrual phase. So I want you to keep that in mind. But choose your heart with where you're at today. And the more you get to know your body and get to know yourself, the easier this practice becomes. And if you are looking for that deeper level of inner work to get to know your body, to get to experience what is the felt sense of what I'm actually experiencing, what is the felt sense of anxiety, what is the felt sense of depression, what is the felt sense of sadness, of excitement, of pleasure, what is the felt sense of all of that, and actually allowing yourself to feel and to be in your body and to allow your feminine energy to flow and to allow the creativity now to come through you, because you are removing anything that is not you. Oh, I remember my train of thought now. That's funny. So, removing anything that is not you, removing all the limiting beliefs, removing all the trapped emotions, because all of these have just come from experiences that we've had and indirect beliefs that we have picked up, or even direct beliefs that we've picked up from how we grew up. But that is not who we were designed to be. We were designed to be abundant, loving, forgiving. And so I really want to encourage you to start noticing what parts of me are not actually me. They're just a part of trauma of experience. They're just a part of trapped emotions. They're just a part of limiting beliefs I've picked up. And what is my why? What is the thing that I want to have all of this peace and all of this motivation for? What is my why for showing up? Why do I want to have all this energy? Why do I want to experience this much peace? What is it that I'm here to create and put out into the world? So that is everything that I have for you in today's video. I cannot believe it has already been an hour. I think this is going to be my longest video yet. But I appreciate you so much for being here. Thank you for sharing your energy and time with me. And I want to hear any insights that you had down below, any practices that you have of your own that help you move through feeling down, feeling unmotivated, or feeling anxious, down in the comments. And again, the link to the deeper inner work is linked down below in Safe to Be Loved. And I will see you in the next video or inside Safe to Be Loved. Bye.